You and me otherwise.
Hello. I think we're live. Hi, everybody. If we are live, we've got Carrie over there with the lovely Mimi. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Carrie. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Louise. How are you?
I'm good. I've got Molly Chops here.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, Molly. Say hello to Memes and Auntie Carrie.
Well, I think this is quite something. We've got 3 DMT survivors here.
We have on the live broadcast. Have you got Ziggy there?
I have. He's very happily chewing Mr. Broccoli at the moment.
Mr. I'm going to put Moles on the floor because she's happier having a little mooch around on the floor rather than sitting on my knee in this tight little space here. So I just wanted to say hi. Of course, Carrie, we're very busy, aren't we, with the doggies, getting them into homes and finding great homes for them. And we wanted to share Ziggy's story, who is with you eating Mr. Broccoli as we speak.
He is. He's very content at the moment. He's lying on his blanket. He's got Mr. Broccoli in his now repaired teeth. And he's very relaxed, very chilled at the moment.
So you say his now repaired teeth. So there's a story in terms of the dental interventions he's had, and they tell a story, don't they? Before we go into that, shall we just give everybody a little bit of background about Ziggy, who I always called Ziggy Stardust. I don't know why, it just happens. So Ziggy Stardust arrived in April, didn't he? Came to you as a foster Carrie originally?
He did. He was a bit of a last minute swap, wasn't he, Louise? We knew that obviously we had dogs coming in, and very unfortunately we just lost one of our DMT survivors, little Sasha, who very tragically was bitten by a snake, an adder, while on a walk. And I think during times of grief, you look to see what you can do. And obviously we had a discussion, and little Ziggy had no place to go, and we decided to open our home to him as a short-term foster, she says. When he arrived, he wasn't quite the Ziggy we were expecting. He was a little bald Ziggy. In fact, even the vets remarked that he looked a little bit like Dobby from Harry Potter. So he became Dobby the house elf before he became Ziggy Star. And he was utterly gorgeous. I mean, we fell in love right from the get-go. And this little man just needed a little bit of extra support and help, as do so many of our DMT survivors. And I think we, as people that are involved with the charity, we sort of take it for granted that these dogs will evolve throughout their lives, but I don't think you see it from the very beginning. And I think when these little guys arrive, or the big guys arrive, they're often very, very shell-shocked. They're not really sort of au fait with how their life is going to be from now on in. And watching that little transition from shell-shocked DMT survivor, or the survivor of other harrowing abuse that happens, and this little spark happens, doesn't it? We've seen it so many times.
Always. I'm I'm a bit looking at my screen just because, oh, there we go, we are live, which is fantastic, because someone says hello, Louise and Carrie. Thank you. Hi. As always, let me just explain that we can't see your name, so we don't know who you are. We find that out afterwards when we go into the post. So thanks for being here, and if you've got any questions, do ask us. So Carrie, you're quite right. We went on quite a journey with little Ziggy, and I've got a little video here of him in Korea. So I'm just going to show that. So this is Ziggy after he had been rescued. So his story is that he was rescued from a puppy mill. Now, I do have some footage, but unfortunately it won't play. So I'm going to add it into the post once we've got it saved into the dog team. So this is Ziggy in the shelter, and a very fluffy bunny, part Maltese is what Jenny thought that he was. A large Maltese, I think, is what she described him as. And I'm just going to play this other little video of him in the shelter. So, of course, this is one of the volunteers or trainers within the shelter, and he's going to her very, very well. So he looks well adjusted. He looks confident. He can be touched, which is, all these are benefits and bonuses for a lot of the dogs that we it's Christina Rikas. Hi, Christina. Really nice to have you with us. So this is Ziggy in the shelter with in South Korea. So we got that little bit of footage of him, and then I think that's the image that we got of him just before he was heading out on the plane. So Jenny always gives them a pre-flight bath. Bless her cotton socks. So we saw that, and Carrie, we just went, "What? He's been shorn. He's been like a sheep, like you would shear a sheep." I mean, he's really bald. So all that fluffy white fur gone. What was that like, Carrie, when we saw that?
Well, I think we opened the crate and thought, have we got the right dog here? Because we had Mr. Shaun the sheep to little Dobby in one fell swoop. And in that little crate, he looked a little bit forlorn, to say the least.
Our hearts broke for him, didn't they?
I think when all our dogs arrived, the transition period from that journey, from the start when Jenny puts them in the crate, and they have no perception of what is going to happen in their lives, and then to be put into the hold of an aeroplane, and that long journey, and then arriving at Charles de Gaulle, being picked up, traveling up to pet control, and then going on the shuttle, finally crossing into their forever country, and arriving must just be, a whole new level of what is happening to me. As we can see, he's in the crate there, and that says it all, really. That little face, he wasn't quite sure what was happening. It really is a sort of baptism of fire, isn't it? Because we can't explain to them everything's going to be okay in the end. We can't explain to them that actually this is the start of your forever wonderful life. We can't explain to them that they never need to worry again, and that they're going to have food, love, walks, cuddles, toys, beds, all the things that they've never had or experienced in their life. They're going to have this wonderful, wonderful scenario now where I'm just going to pick him up so everyone can see him now. They can see that actually this little guy that arrived looking so shell-shocked. I mean, if you look at his face now, he's a little mischief maker. I mean, he's all over the place, and wants cuddles, wants affection. But this is a huge journey for these little guys. They and the bigger guys, and we've had big, haven't we? We've had Tibetan Mastiffs, Argendos, and all sorts of different colors, shapes, sizes. But the one thing that they all have in common is this "what is happening to me now" part, where they leave Korea and then they come to the UK and their life starts. For us, we know their life is going to be transformed and wonderful, and we are so eternally grateful to our amazing group of fosterers and adopters that take on a dog that has a level of trauma that has to be overcome, but when that light comes on, as I keep saying, it's like a light bulb moment. The transition from scared individual to this happy, confident, totally different animal is just amazing. And I would advocate that, as you would, to everybody.
I think I hope Christina is still watching, because she will have fallen in love with Ziggy, because I know she's got two little munchkins very similarly, and she will understand who Ziggy is very instinctively. So so here Ziggy is in the photograph, and he's at the airport. This next photograph is when they're in the van. So we have a courier that picks them up at Paris. Some of you will remember that Carrie and I have done many journeys to Paris and kind of reported from Paris. And since COVID, since the story goes that the day in November 2021, when the whole of France went into a lockdown, the whole country went into a lockdown, I was due to travel to France that very day. And it was we had dogs flying, and I was trying to work out whether or not I should go or not, whether I had exemption. And of course, we don't have the courier certification. So I ran the risk of traveling through France and being stopped on the motorway, and I just couldn't contemplate that. So we were very, very lucky. That was very late on the Thursday evening, and by 8 o'clock on the Friday morning, we'd actually got a courier in place, and we've used that courier ever since, because sometimes we can have 2 or 3 flights in a month now. And it's a long way to go to Paris. So we're very, very grateful to the courier company. We've been using them since that very night in November 2021. So a big shout out for Happy Saluki Transport. We're very grateful to them. So this is inside of the van. They then travel through Paris, through Calais, and then they arrive in the UK in the early hours of the following morning. So always in the or 99.9% of the time, it's the early hours of the following morning. It's a long journey for them. They're exhausted, they're bewildered, they're discombobulated, they are stressed. They're on Korean time, which is 8 hours difference than UK time. There are different sights and smells and sounds, all sorts of things that they have to get used to. And the only thing they know in the world during that journey is this crate that they are in. So there you can see Ziggy on the left of the screen. The only thing he has in the world at that point that he knows about is the inside of that crate. And when you think about the enormity of that, it's massive. And we always respect the dogs very much, and our hearts are with them, our energies and our focus is with them all the way through that flight, so that we can welcome them open-heartedly into the family. So this next, so tell me about this next photograph there, Carrie.
Well, this was the day after he arrived, and you can see he's very pensive. A natural instinct for any dog when it's not sure of its surroundings is to curl up, because that way they feel safer. So even though he'd got a toy, and we'd put a belly band on him, which is just to make him feel a bit more comfortable. Because a natural instinct for obviously a male dog is to mark. And although that's fine, it enables us to sort of start to start to initiate the sort of house training, which they would never ever have sort of even thought of, because let's think about it. He's come from a puppy mill. He's then been in a shelter environment. Neither of those places would have instigated house training of any sort, or, sort of thinking about that process. So, it's a slow process. We don't put any pressure on our dogs. They come in and we work with them at their pace and their speed. But, the amazing thing is, even though they've been through the level of trauma that all these dogs have been through, is that they are so responsive. And it's an amazing feat, really, because if that had been a human in the same sort of situation, stuck in a tiny little cage, treading on, wire mesh for 3 years of their life, without seeing the outside world, without seeing sunlight, without putting their paws onto the ground, most humans, it would have been a finish for them, really. They're mentally, we would have all been broken down. But dogs have this amazing ability to be able to overcome their past traumas. Obviously, there's still a level of trauma there, and you work with the level of trauma that each dog has. But as you can see, he quickly adapted to becoming a very spoilt little pooch, and very deservedly so. And this is his comfort blanket. He's got several now, but he likes to be wrapped up. This is his big thing. So when he arrived, obviously he'd lost all his floof. So to make him feel a little bit more comfortable, because he was quite cold, we literally swaddled him like a baby, and he asks for it now every single night. When he's being tucked into his bed, he actually waits for the blanket to be sort of, even in the summer when we were hitting 30 degrees, he didn't actually stay in the blanket, but he had to have the blanket swaddled around him. So this is Ziggy, just a couple of weeks in, swaddled in his little blanket. And it's a Christmas blanket. Don't ask me why, but it's a Christmas blanket.
It's lovely. It's a beautiful, beautiful photograph. And here you can see some of his fur starting to return, because when I this thing about grooming dogs is quite interesting, isn't it? Because with Molly, because she's physically disabled, and I try to not to groom her too much. So I tend to get this, I feel a knot. I feel a knot, and then I get the scissors out and we cut the knot out, and she's like this big cloud of fluff. But I do it so that it's as little intervention as possible. But what I know is that when I cut that little bit of fluff out, she always wants to sniff it. And she recognizes it's part of her. And poor little Ziggy Stardust here, because of the conditions of his skin and his fur, was literally bald when he arrived, wasn't he? So even that, just that alone, to experience that must have been quite something for him, mustn't it?
I think yes, because let's not forget, he came from, in Jenny's own words, Jenny Kim, obviously the wonderful rescuer that we work with in South Korea. She has seen probably the most depravity that any human is likely to see in a lifetime, in terms of meat markets, slaughterhouses, and puppy mills. And these puppy mills are godforsaken places. And in fact, the rescue, as we do have the footage of the rescue, and it is just horrific. I mean, these poor little guys, crammed in these tiny wire crates that have absolutely no bearing on normality whatsoever. And in answer to your question, Louise, yeah, I mean, he's spent 3 years of his life matted to the skin. That was reality. You know, Jenny rescued him, thank goodness, along with, you know, all the other puppies. And, you know, seeing the level of how those mats pull on the skin. And, you know, we know from, you know, lots of rescues in this country, you just need to watch sort of programs on television. When the coat gets to the point where it's just a lump of dense matted fur, not only is that the most incredibly painful thing for the dog, I mean, it's like somebody constantly pulling your hair, but you know, they have, the skin can't breathe. So, you know, things manifest like skin infections, sores. So actually what was done was the only thing that could be done, and that was to take his coat off, and, you know, almost have a resurrection of new fur from, you know, new from the old. And, you know, it started to grow back quite quickly. He has had some skin issues, and that may well be because he's had such a dense matted coat in the past. And although the skin is healing, you know, it does take time. And obviously we have to work out with all our dogs, it's like putting puzzles together. We have to work out, you know, what we need to do to help them move on with their lives, be it health issues or, you know, be it behavioral issues. But, you know, it is a great puzzle, because once you've got all the pieces in place, you can give them the best life that you can.
So thank you for that, Carrie. So we'll talk a little bit more about the additional issues that we've discovered this little doggy has, little Ziggy. Is he with Hugo here?
And Hugo's actually next to me now.
Is he?
Yeah. Hugo.
And can you see the photograph? Is this a photograph with Hugo on the screen? Hughes! Hi! So if you move to the other side, Carrie, in fact, if I remove that, there we go. There, oh, he's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. He's lovely. And here's a photograph of him with Steve. Now, so with Steve, it's taken a while, hasn't it, for him to feel confident around Steve.
Yeah, and it's still a work in progress, to be completely honest with you. Steve is really very, very patient. I mean, we've had so many dogs in and out, and, you know, we have 7 at the moment at home anyway. So, you know, Steve is like a dog whisperer. He has an innate ability to be able to sort of calm a dog down, and he is a very calming influence. And actually, normally the dogs gravitate towards him. Ziggy, I think, has had probably interaction with men that hasn't been good. And I think it has stuck. And we are working very slowly with him to overcome that. And I would say to anyone that's experiencing behavioral issues with, you know, one or both people in the household, is don't give up. You know, you can work through these things. It's not a fait accompli when things go wrong. You know, you take it back to the beginning. So with a behavioral issue such as barking, growling, you know, sort of almost chasing the person that they don't like off, then, you know, the best thing to do is to drop, to remain sort of very passive, very quiet, very calm, no eye contact, lots of treats. We are really, really into positive reinforcement, as, you know, everyone should be anyway. But, you know, just that method of training works really, really well with rescue dogs, because they are looking to sort of have a get out clause with anything they do, because everything in their life has been so utterly awful, you know. So we work very slowly, lots of, you know, positive praise, and just really, really calm, no sudden movements, and allowing the dog to work out actually that this is going to be okay. This is going to be, you know, this person it's not quite as bad as I think they are. And Hugo's another example of this. You know, he's quite a reactive little guy. He's a UK rescue. And he's 10 now, so he's got, you know, he's been with me a long time, and he had a really tough start in life. He's got lots of scars, and he is reactive, and it took us a long time to work through those issues. But you can work through any issues with any dog if you are positive and do it very slowly. Please, anyone that's experiencing any problems with behavior, or, you know, fundamentally with anything to do with a rescue dog, you know, you can work through these things. And obviously at the dog team, we're there to help you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Carrie. And we're helping every day. We're talking to families about their dogs and progress. And with the situation with Steve, we know that the dogs can generalize that men are to be feared, because mostly their experience in life to date has been horrific, and most of it has been at the hands of men. So when we remember that, it should give us more patience and more understanding. And we're really lucky in the families who adopt our doggies, because they understand that and take their time with it, which is wonderful. So we've got a message here from I think it's from Nigel and Michelle, who say, "Hi, Louise and Carrie. As Louise will tell you, we now have 3 dogs from the dog team. So they've got Phoebes, they've got Sadie, and they've also now just adopted Olivia in the last few weeks. So yeah, and they have other dogs as well at home. So they're just fantastic, supportive, understanding, and we're working together really to bring Olivia back into the land of the living, so that she can live her life to the full. So thank you for that.
Brilliant.
There's another comment here that says, "They're all so brave, bless them. I am sure all the dogs that are being homed get all they deserve. Love to them all." Thank you for that. And you're quite right. And we, you know, this is why we go through the process that we do for adoption. Let me just show. There you go. We've got Mimi and Ziggy there, haven't we, Carrie?
Yeah, that's Mimi. Mimi is a very brave little survivor. That's what I call my little gang. So we've got Teddy, we've got Ziggy, we've got Hugo, we've got my old girl, Roxy, and Mimi in the front. And do you know what I find absolutely astonishing? With each and every dog that comes in, and we've had quite a plethora of dogs, both in foster and personally. Each and every dog has been accepted. And, I think that's another question that we are asked an awful lot, isn't it, Louise?
Yeah.
But what about my resident dogs? Are they going to accept a new dog coming into the household? And I think Michelle and Nigel just have answered that question as well. It needs to be careful introductions, but, these dogs are used to being with other dogs, so actually introducing them to other dogs is usually not the problem. And you careful introductions. We always take baby steps with any dog that's coming in, be it foster or adopting, but they have, again, this ability to master a new environment, and that includes having different furry siblings. I think my family is so diverse. My furry family I'm talking about. We go from 60 kilos down to tiny. Mimi being the tiniest. And again, she's another DMT survivor with a very traumatic past. She is disabled like Molly, but absolutely loves her life. She has the most joy probably that I've ever seen in any dog anywhere. And when you watch, as we've said all along, when you watch these dogs evolve and you watch them transition from little broken four-legged, very sad individuals to, you know, starting their lives and watching the joy, and, you know, sitting on the chaise longue in a garden and putting their feet on grass for the first time. You know, we take that for granted, don't we? We take it for granted that you can put your foot on the ground.
Yeah.
These dogs, most of them, have never ever done that. You know, they've never seen grass. They've never walked. They've never experienced new sounds and smells. And, you know, Ziggy really has taken to that like a duck to water. I mean, he just loves his walks.
As you can see here. So this, Ziggy is an interesting little character because he's very brave, and he's very stoic, isn't he? He's very strong. Dogs often can hide pain. And can you tell us just a little bit about what you discovered? Which is a horror story, and one that is being fixed for Ziggy, but one which still exists for many, many dogs around the world. But, you know, our focus is very much for the dog meat trade survivors in South Korea. And we know that as we speak, they are experiencing untold horrors and untold levels of pain.
Yeah.
What happened with Ziggs?
Well, we knew that, obviously, and I'm sure Jenny will concur with this, that, you know, most of the dogs coming out of these awful environments, be it, as we've said, puppy mill, slaughterhouse, meat market, are not fed good food. The majority of them are fed food to fatten them up, and that has a high sugar content. So Ziggy, unfortunately, had been in one of these crate situations with wire mesh, which must have been, you know, well, solitary confinement for 3 years is not even worth thinking about. But for him, it obviously, the anxiety level reached different stratosphere, because unfortunately he had fractured 10 of his teeth trying to get out of the crate that he was in. So when he arrived, we noticed that, you know, he had really, really bad breath, which is a fundamental sign that obviously something is quite wrong with the teeth. And, you know, you can't initially go to a rescue dog's mouth and start looking at their teeth, because most of them won't accept that. Most of them would find that too challenging. So after a couple of weeks, we had, you know, we after discussions with our vets, we decided that the kindest thing would be to sedate him under a general anaesthetic and have a good look to see what was going on, and then take the appropriate, you know, sort of medical course of action that was necessary to help him. It turned out that 14 of Ziggy's teeth were significantly damaged. They were infected. There was a hole on top of the infection going into his nasal cavity, which had affected his sinuses. So it was quite dramatic surgery for him. And during that time, obviously, you know, they do a full MOT, and it was discovered that he also has damage to a vertebrae at the base of his neck, which would have been due to an impact blow. So the poor little guy has obviously initially had all his teeth out, and the next process, which is a much slower process, is to have an MRI, have him referred to a neurologist, and then we'll see what can be done about the damage to his vertebrae. It may be that the damage, it has been sustained and we can't do anything, and we just need to monitor it to ensure that his pain levels are managed. But, you know, this little guy would have been in that situation for many, many years. And, you know, thanks to Jenny, he is now not in that situation. And, you know, we can do what we can here to restore his health. And it, you know, it's the same for many of our survivors. You know, until we've got them over here, we work with what we need to do to ensure that they have better, happier, and and healthier lives.
Absolutely. So for Ziggy, it's a process now of understanding what his ailments are, and he's under good medical supervision, and all of those issues related to pain will be reduced or removed dependent on what can be done for the spinal injury. And that's a marvelous outcome. But every time we speak about Ziggy, you and I talk about how many dogs there are still that we don't even know about, that maybe have not even been born, that in 3 or 4 years we will find out are in the same kind of position as him, because Ziggy is estimated to be around 4 years old, which is not very old at all. And can you imagine the sheer agony and the hell that you must go through when something happens to your teeth and you get an infection, and that infection rages and nobody notices it or gives you antibiotics, or and it just bores a hole through your gum so that there's a hole through to the nasal cavity. It does not bear it. I can't even imagine. And this is the reason that we do what we do, isn't it, Carrie? So that we can make a difference. And everybody listening to this now or afterwards with the recording, this is why they are interested. This is why they're listening to the recording, to find out what they can do too. Yes?
Absolutely. And I think, you've hit the nail on the head, really. I mean, Mimi here is also, she's had major trauma and is still going through a medical process. I know Molly's the same. And, we're not saying that each and every dog that comes in needs the amount of support that some of our dogs do. But, it's one of the greatest things that we can give back to, I think, animals, is being able to help them. And, sharing that responsibility collectively is very, very important. Why should these animals suffer? Why should they be left to be in pain when we as humans can help them?
Yeah.
And, it might not be a physical pain, it might be a mental pain.
Yeah.
And that's still very relevant. We can help them with that. We can support them through, as we've said all along, the transition process to a happier life.
Yeah.
And watching these dogs when they evolve and they come through all their issues that they have to come through, you start to see little Ziggy paying his respects to the Queen.
As you may be doing later on this evening, I understand, Carrie.
Yes, I believe it's 24-hour queue now, so I could be there a while.
Oh no, blimey! Watch it on telly.
Yeah.
We can pay our respects from through the television screen, I do believe. So yes, so and that's a very iconic photograph, isn't it? Because when the dogs arrive here on UK soil, Julia, we collectively breathe a sigh of relief, and we know that they are on a journey now to wellness, health, and happiness, and safety as well. So that's, I mean, that the Union flag there is really important, because it does represent safety. As soon as they hit Folkestone, I breathe that sigh of relief, and as soon as I've got them in my car, or lovely Jane Warren actually is doing a lot of the driving for us from South Mims up to the north, or the Midlands, should I say. And yeah, so we kind of collectively breathe a sigh of relief when we've got the dogs, when we have them, and we can then start to work with them and start to heal them. And that's what it's all about for us. So thank you for that, Carrie. Couple of things I'd like to say is that we do get an awful lot. I mean, our vet bills this month are astronomical with one thing and another, We just wonder whether people can join us by connecting through the lottery, which is a pinned post in the Dog Team UK. That would be a great way of being able to support us. And as we come up to Christmas, please change your Amazon account to smile.amazon and choose our charity, the Dog Team UK. And that will help us tremendously. It doesn't cost you anything. And it just means that a small percentage of your purchases will come to us, as is the case also with Easy Fundraiser as well. So these are ways in which you can support us financially without it costing you a penny. With the lottery, obviously, you're going to be paying £1 a week, and you get the chance of winning £25,000, and we hope you do too. So please do support us. If you are interested in supporting us through the adoption of a dog, I've got a couple of images here that I just want to share with you, and that is, let me just get rid of that photograph, just bear with me, and I'm going to add this one to the stream. So what we are looking at is a lovely girl called Darlie. That's AN. He's already been adopted. But this lovely other girl is living in Leicester. I'll run this movie through again, and you can see this beautiful white Jindo is called Dal, and she is living in Leicester, and she's looking for her forever home. And just look how happy and how relaxed and how confident she's become. And Louise is fostering her, and she's doing a great job. We also have Darlie, who is a boy living down in Southampton, between Southampton and Portsmouth. This is a tremendous, playful, confident, brilliant personality of a dog. And she and Louise and I did a video of this a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago. We're still looking for an adoptive home for this boy. He's tremendous character and really deserves his forever home as well. And so that's Darlie. So they've got Dal, who's the girl, who's the white dog, the white Jindo. Then we've got Darlie, who's the boy, who's the red Jindo. And then we have got Marnie, who is the white Jindo, who is in foster. And this is her foster brother, Jacob, living in Derbyshire. And she's lovely. She loves home, she loves the garden, and she needs more confidence out and about in the wider world. But she's beautiful, happy, really sociable with other dogs. She's a tremendous character. So we're looking for 3 amazing homes for our 3 amazing Jindos. So Carrie, back to you. How would you like to wrap it up today?
Well, I think you've really sort of closed it quite nicely. I think, we are always looking for adopters and for fosterers. And, if you really feel that you would be willing to help us in any way, really, we always need support. We're a small team, and, we all want the best for these dogs. And, the pivotal thing is that we can't do this without support. So the more support we get, be it, by donation, by offering to fundraise, we always need fundraising activities. If you want to set up a dog show, I'll come and compare it for you. But, we really do need the public support, because it's a never-ending story. As quickly as Jenny rescues, more dogs appear, and until this horrific trade is stopped, we will be there fighting the cause to the very end. And we have lots of different. We have the 3 dogs that you've talked about. We also have, smaller dogs if people want smaller dogs. And, we are constantly looking for good brilliant forever homes, but also our foster capacity needs to increase as well. So we are looking for people who would be willing to foster on a short to medium term so that we can assess the dogs and find the right forever homes for them. And it proves very much, looking at the dogs that we've just seen, how vital that work is, because we've been able to ascertain exactly what sort of homes those dogs need, and they're well adjusted now to UK life, which makes it so much easier when we are looking for those forever homes. So please get in touch with us. We have the wonderful Julia, who puts her heart and soul into finding forever homes for our dogs. She spends her life finding adopters. So, thanks to Julia. Louise lives, breathes, eats, sleeps, dreams dogs. And she probably doesn't get much sleep. So, we all want the best for these guys, but we can't do it without you. So please get on board with us and share the love and help us.
Yeah, and on the 3rd of December, you can come and join us for an evening of dinner and dance in Northampton as well. So there is, in fact, I'll chuck it to the top of the list of the posts in the dog team. We'd love to see you there. It's Maureen Hodgson and Amy Smith have organised it. It's a joint Soy Dog and the Dog Team UK fundraiser. And we're so chuffed about our relationship with other organisations, and specifically this Soy Dog. We're very grateful to them for all the support that they give us. So what I would say is come along on the 3rd. It'll be a chance to get dressed up just before Christmas, and just meet us, and we love talking dogs. We chat dogs non-stop. And we can kind of update you on everything that we're doing live in the moment there as well. So there's another opportunity. So Carrie, thank you so much for initially fostering Ziggy, for then adopting Ziggy, and for looking after him and all his medical needs, because he looks like he's becoming a really happy and confident little boy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I think I better go and find him to say goodbye, don't you?
Yeah, go do that. I'll pick up Molly. You go find Ziggy Stardust. Molly, so we say night-night to everybody. Night-night. Oh, we do a 1, 2, and we do it F-wee. There we go. There we go. There's little Molly. Oh, Mollykins. I'll just move that screen slightly. There we go. There we go. Say night-night to everybody. Hey, night-night, everybody. And of course, as you know, Molly and the life, where would she be? Where would she be without what we do here? Where would all our dogs be? That's what we say. Oh, Ziggs.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye, Ziggy. Bye-bye. And thank you, Hugo, for keeping Carrie company the whole time. There we are. Mwah. All right. Take care, everyone. Lots of love to you all. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Carrie.
Bye.